record. That's the right episode. And that's the right show. Here we go. Hi. Welcome. We're running a little late. Sorry about that. Hope I didn't lose any of y'all at the, eagerly awaiting for the doors to open at 3 o'clock today. I'm Tom. I'm a little sick. I sound a little... Not quite James Earl Jones mode, but a little groggier than usual. But it's okay. We might just need to take a few more breaks for hydration. But where are we? We are YCDRPG, and we are working on. I'm gonna call it the battle engine. Right? We got to start doing some math. And some logic around how do we do the fighting? How do my characters fight the monsters and get the gold and the experience points? And I'm not even worried about the gold and the experience points yet. I'm not even worried. We're supposed to have fun here. There's no need for worry. I'm excited about figuring out some of this stuff, and I might need to look at some. I haven't played. First of all, I was never a huge Dungeons and Dragons guy. I didn't play a whole lot of tabletop games like that. I'm sure there are very logical ways of rolling dice and doing, tabulating a score and deciding, if the ogre takes 1 point of damage or 2 points of damage and vice versa. I think ours is probably going to be a little primitive to start, but I think this will be really interesting stuff. Real world application, I don't know. But it's always fun to delve into logic and experiment and explore that stuff. So let's see. We have an org. I better just check the Twitch and make sure that we're good over there. Let's see. Looks like we're live. Manage stream. There we are. Yes, we are up and looks like it's working. Okay, cool. Yeah, so let's get to work. A couple other things that are in motion here. GitHub, I'm trying to be a good kid and do the thing with the GitHub, and what I want to start making branches this week for each episode, and then pull requests and do all the right things to get changes back into our repo. But I'm also trying to just do a little bit of documentation around the objects that are in motion. We've got some flows that do stuff. We've got one class that basically our random number generator is probably going to do a lot of work for us throughout this whole project. And I got some backlog and issues, which I'd love to start using GitHub project management for that. I haven't used it a ton. We have like 100 other different project management tools, but hey, let's do all of it legit and take advantage of the tools that we have. Also, just trying to keep track of episodes, which are pat self on back. I'm doing a way better job getting those out to YouTube for all of your viewing pleasure. So yeah, there's that. Let's go back over here and let's do what I just said I was going to do, which is, let's create a new branch called, it's episode 3. So I guess we'll call it, let's just call it episode 3. There we go. Okay. So where were we? or where are we now? Well, let's go back to our object model here. We were working on monsters last week. I think we just got the monster itself set up. So let's get into our org and see kind of where we left off here. Oh, that is totally opening in the wrong window, but thanks for playing. Let's try that again. Nope, you're doing it wrong. We'll go over here. I mean, I try to be a good kid and separate my AI. You're not gonna like that. I got like 4 different. Oh, come on. Fine. I got like 4 different profiles for Google because I have different lives, and the green is Tom, just Tom Petros. Blue is supposed to be you can't do that on Salesforce, and I've got a couple others, but it just doesn't want to open here. So fine, we'll work here. No big deal. Let's look at our monster object. How far did we get here? So this is our like monster definition, right? Like this is going to be the encyclopedia of monsters. We defined a few range points. So, if we're thinking about, I'm going to make a goblin and put it into my quest that I'm playing right now. We would want to know, well, what kind of range of hit points might it have? What kind of range of experience points might it grant if you kill it? And I think we also did, I didn't mention this, but Game Quest Step Monster, love the name of that object. This aligns, this is here. I just don't think I highlighted it. Game Step Quest Monster. Very few things here, but creates a relationship between the monster and the Game Quest step. Because remember, I feel like I should draw another diagram of like, let's do that real quick. Here's the object model. Here's kind of like the story of the data, right? So we have, I just rename these. Let's see. This is our object model. And let's see. Rename data story. Right. I like to do these because it kind of like helps me visualize like the data in motion. So like we're going to create a new game, and then from that, we have this thing called quest, right? So this is this again is sort of like a dictionary of objects. Probably do some more intelligent color coding here. We'll make places where stuff is stored, quest. And then when we actually, create an instance of one of these that's in motion, we create a game quest. A couple arrows here. And give ourselves a little bit of room here because we could have perfectly reasonable to have, first quest, a dark cave of darkness. This is a game quest. Yep. And that is also that. So that is a quest that we define over here. So it obviously references back to that. Okay. Then we have some steps that are hanging off of this this game quest, and those are called game quest steps. A step is like basically like a very super primitive way of saying, hey, that's the map that we're playing on. And maybe in like a tabletop game situation, you've got this grid and the ability for your characters to move around that grid. The steps kind of represent the squares on the grid. But in our case, we're starting super simple and we're just making, it's not a grid, it's a line for us. So within the game quest Dark Cave of Darkness, I've got 3 steps. Those would be, those wouldn't be prescribed. Those would be defined loosely at the quest level, right? To say, hey, the Dark Cave of Darkness has a minimum of 8 steps and a maximum of 10 steps. So that's kind of the, the thinking there. Now, from here, way over here, if I have another definition object, monster, right? Monster, ghost, spooky ghost. And then I'm going to add, wrong color. This is a game quest step monster. It's really hard to fit on there. Break it across 2 lines. A little easier to read. Game quest step monster. And this is an instance of the ghost. I'm going to give myself a little bit more room here. Let's go like this. Drag these down a little bit. Because we could have, well, how many monsters am I fighting in this step is what this object is telling us. Okay, so we have this defined. We have our monster. Oh, and he's gonna, sorry, this is gonna also have a lookup back to the monster. All right, now we could have a couple different monsters. We'll have a monster and have a ghost, and let's have a goblin. Hardest Nintendo game ever. Ghosts and goblins. There we go. Okay, so what have we got here? In data in motion for a game that we're playing. Right? The first quest in the game is totally not, arrow's not working, but that's okay. We're going to do the Dark Cave of Darkness. We have that in our dictionary of quests, and then we're going to have 1 or more steps procedurally, a little bit of randomness to decide how many we actually end up with, so it's not the same game every time. We're going to have any given step could have monsters. It could have game quest step monsters, and maybe we need a different name for this because I think we're going to have some similar scenarios here. But so you could think like we're doing a new quest, me and my character and 3 other characters. First step is into a forest, and we step into the forest, and there's a ghost and a goblin, and the crew has to fight the ghost and the goblin. Then we go into the second step. Maybe there's 4 monsters. Maybe there's 0 monsters. That could be, right? We could take 1 or 2 steps, no monster, no monster. And then we get to another step, and there's more monsters below that. So this is sort of how the game, a quest progresses. And we can preordain all of this. And I think, I have to double check, I think our logic is when you start a game, start the quest. The quests have a sequence. We can define those. And then start the first step. And when we start the first step, we decide how many monsters that we're going to have in that first step. So I'm thinking we're going to try to get through that today. And then within the step, we've got to think about one other thing, which some notion of turns, right? So if we're gonna do battle here, we got to know, every game, every role playing game has this like, team of 4 heroes versus 4 monsters. Who's swinging first? Who's swinging second? Who's swinging third? And they could be that the monster swings first, or the character swings first. We need some way to describe that. Something like a turn object, or a game quest step turn might be what we're looking for, so that we can say, what's going when. Now this raises an interesting question, because a turn's going to probably either look at a character or a monster, right? And we can set that all up again behind the scenes. Before anything happens, kind of know, at least to start, a round, right? That's another thing too. Like we need to see that all of our, if we're going to play this sort of round based, like every monster needs to swing at a character, and every character needs to swing at a monster when they're fighting. That's one way to do it. You could kind of create the next turn, sort of as, I finished the first turn, I can go ahead and create the fifth turn. That might be kind of interesting too, right? Because you're not guaranteeing that, like, it's not a round, right? Some games are sort of like, all right, here's the first round, everybody goes. Here's the second round, everybody swings. Here's the third round, everybody swings. We could just kind of keep popping turns at, underneath to, decide who gets to do what next. That might be interesting, just to switch it up a little bit. So anyway, here's what the thing looks like if the data's kind of in motion. We've done this in our flows. We've got these objects as in our dictionary. We need these to to create something to fight, and then we need to fight. And because I sound all snorty, congested, I'm just going to turn off my mic a second. There we go. Definitely didn't. Nobody needs to hear a nose do that. Let's put it that way. Okay, so let's get these in place. Let's get our game quest step monsters. We've got the object. Let's make them somewhere in our process here. So I think our flows are sort of cascading right now. I think I have a YCDRPG. So here's all of our flows. I'm just going to open each of them so we can sort of see how this is coming together. I can't do that because Salesforce is going to open them in a new window for me. Thank you, Salesforce. Okay, so new game sets up our game, and when it gets to the end, it starts that new quest. So this flow does this thing. The second flow, new game quest, does this thing. And when we do new game quest, we create the first quest step. So we're always creating one at a time. So we have to take a step before we are going to get a new step. So we're not predefining everything up front. We're just going to take it one step at a time. Just like in life, RPG games need to take it one step at a time. So that's what this is doing. Here's how we create a new game quest step. It says, do we have a step? What's the latest one? Do we need to create a new one? Yes or no? And from here, I feel like we left something out here. We don't have really any notion of like when to be done with we're just going to create steps forever, even though the game and the game quest know how many steps it should have. Well, actually, I think that logic is here. I take that back. So there is logic in here that says stop at some point, stop making steps in this game. Because it doesn't, so this quest, stop making steps in this quest. Use my vocabulary correctly. Because we don't want it to go on forever. And that data is in there. We know the number of steps, that sort of thing. There's a notion of a step being successful or failure or pending. So, success means you did whatever it needed. It did whatever it told you to do, kill the monsters, open the treasure chest, whatever that may be. Failure means you died. Your whole team is dead on that step. So that's failure. Pending means it's not done yet. It's still open. You're maybe in the midst of fighting, or you just haven't taken your turn or taken the step to go to the next step. Here is where we want to make monsters happen. So if we go look at some data, let's go look at a game here actually, because I think we've got one One in motion. G3, here we go. All right, so this is our game, our quest, the Dark Cave of Darkness. We know how many steps. This was randomly generated when the game started. If I look at the quest itself, we have a min and a max. How many steps you can take. So that between 8 and 12 is 9. So we got that down. We don't have we pick characters too. That's what the new game lets us do that. Yes, coming soon. Skyrim Salesforce Edition. That is exactly. You're totally right. As Force be with you. Plenty of characters to draw from the Salesforce ecosystem to participate and be heroes and villains in that game, I'm sure. Okay, so we've got Game Quest. I don't think we have... Yeah, we haven't made a step yet. So I think if we slow motion this... this is auto-launched, I believe. So if I debug this... Oh, yep, so I got Game Quest ID. So we can go in here... Sorry, I'm thrashing around. Here's the Game Quest that we want to add a... we want to add a step to. So let's... Maybe we made this work? Let's see. Yep, make new game step. And refresh. We should have one. Ta-da! All right, and it's pending. It's the first in the sequence. I step into this. I haven't done anything with this page layout yet. Here's our monsters, right? So we want to know now which monsters should be on this step. And I think somewhere we have a definition for how many monsters. We don't yet. So there's something else hanging out here, right? The step itself. I'm thinking about, like, I mentioned forests before, right? So to me, go way back to Final Fantasy days. Forget the name of the bad guy that you fight the very start of that game. But you start in a town, you walk north, you go through some grass, you go through some swamp, you go through some forest, and then you get to a castle. And then when you're in the castle, you go through a dungeon, I guess. Dungeons and dungeons and dungeons. And maybe there's stairs or whatever. If I were to not go off of that path whatsoever, straight and narrow, grass, swamp, forest, grass, castle, dungeon, that's our steps, right? So there's an aspect of steps that are like, what kind of step is it? Is it grass? Is it desert? Is it biome, right? If I use the Minecraft term, I'm sure it's a term way before Minecraft, but that's how I always associate it. So thinking maybe our monster count is driven, at least in part, by the biome that you're going through, right? It's because maybe, forests are scarier and you can't see as much stuff because monsters are hiding behind the trees. Grasslands are a little clearer because you can see what's coming in front of you. Swamps are scary because the monsters come out of the ground. This was what I think about at night. We could say, hey, these kinds of monsters are in these kinds of biomes. We are not going there yet, but certainly a path we could take. So we're going to keep it super simple right now. I think we're just going to make 2 monsters for every step. But all of those variables that we just, and more, I'm sure, could inform, how many monsters are actually going to show up in this, on this step. So let's just say 2. Garland the Dark Elf. See? This guy knows. And extra credit, who else was Garland at the end of Final Fantasy? Kind of blew my mind when I first played it. Right. I'll put that out to the chat. All right, let's make 2 monsters here. Yes, chaos. Did it not blow your mind when you got through that game? And like you were fighting, your first fight of the game was fighting the last guy of the game. Like, what was it? 2,000 years in the past or the future or whatever. Like, mind blown. Couldn't have made it through that game without the Nintendo strategy guide, though. There was absolutely no way. In fact, I think I had that game, and then I bought it, and I returned it because I was angry with it because I didn't know what to do with it. And then I got the strategy guide in a Nintendo Power magazine, and then I went back and bought it again because I felt like I could beat it that time. Very, very true. The Kefka, yeah. See, I got a Final Fantasy person on the chat here. Like, if you're watching this later, you gotta show up live because you're gonna miss you don't want to miss the old school RPG conversations. Okay, for now, our rule is going to be 2 monsters per step. Just gonna throw it out there. So how are we gonna do this? I'm gonna keep trying to compartmentalize these flows and be a good kid and not have piles of spaghetti flow out here. So I think I opened all my tabs, so I'm gonna open yet another tab. Get back to setup. Let's make another flow. So most of these have been create one thing, right? Create one record, do a thing. I think our next one's going to be new game quest monsters, right? Because we want to work in collections when we can. When the need dictates, we're just creating one game, one quest, one step at a time. But we're going to make monsters here, so let's make sure that our next flow is a little more bulk friendly. And I think this is going to be, I think these have all been these all autos? Yeah, these have all been auto launched so far. So, and this makes sense. We would want to auto launch this. Probably don't want a front end for making monsters per se. Okay, new flow. I have a naming convention here I want to try to follow. Cool. Auto launched. We're going to pass in a variable as game quest step ID. Passing around the IDs, probably could pass the objects, philosophical conversation. Maybe we'll find a reason where we need to do that. For now, we'll start with the IDs. Okay, so we're going to pass that in. And, again, the argument is probably, well, don't pass in the ID because I immediately need to turn around a requery for the, actually, I will, well, we don't know what that's going to be yet. Something is going to seed how many of these do you need to make. And so let's make a variable for that now, and we'll call it max monsters. I'm just going to default it. We don't need decimals. I'm going to default it to 2, but we can input that potentially, pass that in from some other source. And we recognize that let me make another monster in the game. I don't know if I have any in here. Oh, we don't have any monsters. Let's make our monsters. This is Ghost. Ghost. Min hit points 10, max hit points 20, min experience 5, max hit experience 10. And Goblin. Min hit points 5, max hit points 10. Min experience. Experience could maybe end up being a little more dynamic. We haven't talked about like levels and difficulty and that kind of stuff. I'm sort of like serendipity is going to kick in here in some places, and we'd be like, oh, hey, we can use that value and do that value. But we'll just keep it simple here. You know what? Now, min goblins should be easy, so we'll say 1 and 2. All right, cool. We got a ghost, we got a goblin. We know I should be writing these things down in our backlog or putting them into our project management tool eventually. We need to, this is a new, what is this? New game. What did I call it? What's this flow called again? Oh, we didn't call it anything yet. This is going to be new game quest, or or new game quest step monsters. Right? New game quest step monsters. We got a lot of stuff we eventually need to do here, like quantity variable, right? Type variable, probably other things, but for right now, that'll do. Okay, so we got the quest, game quest step ID, because we're going to create game quest step. We're going to need a collection of those. New game quest step monster collection. Game quest step monster, not the change event. There you are. Maybe we need to output those. I don't know. We're not going to input. Yeah, we'll see. Maybe we do need to do that. I think this this flow is going to insert them. Maybe there's a reason why we would need to pass them back at some point. We'll see. Max Monsters 2. Let's do. I want to do another resource. We're going to say monster index, and we'll make that a number. We'll default that to 1. If we're 0 based, or well, actually, if we are 0 based, I guess we should make that 0. Hang on. So we're gonna loop over the index until we get to the max, and we're gonna create record. So I need an iterator for the new game quest step monster iterator, because we're gonna loop over that. Game quest step monster. Okay. I think that's everything we need except the monsters, right? So we need to, I'm just going to load them all. Let's get records, get monsters. Getting monsters could even be a flow unto itself, because, it would be one thing to be able to seed what we need to get based on some variables that come in. It might also be easier to just like offload that duty to a flow unto itself, because we gotta we want to randomize the list of monsters that come back. There's other we don't want to I'm just gonna get the ghost, get the goblin, and we're gonna add one of each of them to every step. So that's super simple. We need a lot more variability around that at some point. There's our monsters. We're just going to get them all. Get both of them. Technically, we probably don't need to loop over max monsters and monster index, because we're just going to do the two monsters. But what could we do to decide what monster we want to work with in each step? We could filter, maybe. Could we filter on some kind of random, semi-random, use the Salesforce ID relative to the current timestamp or something like that, plus the iterator? Yeah, let's keep it simple for right now. All right, we're gonna get all these back. There's our monsters. Oh, did I forget something? Oh, no, just give me all of them. Cool. Loop over the monsters. Loop monsters from our get monsters. Okay, and each one of these we're going to init a new game quest step monster. So our iterator, the game quest step is what we passed in. Our iterator, the game quest step monster is, where's the monster? Doot. And that's going to be our current monsters ID. And that is in its simplest form what we need. So we're gonna say PG. Oh, what? YCDRPG new game quest step monsters. Run it like that. Probably might come back and change those. What? That was weird. I don't want to save it twice. Okay. That is the basics. Now let's look at that object. We create a game quest step monster. We need the hit points and the experience points. So I'm going to call out to my apex. This is the wrong flow. This is the right flow. I'm going to get... We're going to get hit points. Get HP. The min is the current monster's min hit points, and the max is the current monster's max hit points. So we should get something useful back there. And let's get the XP while we're at it. And let's get XP. So we're trying to get some life out of our random number invocarator here. Min experience. I wish these two were flipped around because I think there's logic in the random that says, hey, if the min is greater than the max, then the max is the min, or however you say that. Okay, current and max. Groovy. And then we should get some more. Here's our hit points. And that is from our get HP. And then our iterator one more time. Experience points from our XP. Cool. Whoops. Not cool. What's wrong? Why are you sad? You're not sad anymore. Okay. All right, we initted it. I got to add it to the collection because I always forget to do that. Collection, add, iterator. Cool. And then when we're done, let's create these. Oops, records, multiple, and that's our new collection. Okay. Here we go. Let's use the flow that the step. Nope. Let's go to our game. Go to our quest. Go to our step. This is where we want to make monsters. And test this out. Not in use currently, but I'm going to throw something in there and run it. And did we make some monsters? We made 2 monsters. Did we actually? Ooh, that's fun. Yeah. I don't think we need to be that precise with the hit points and experience points. I don't know. What do you think? We need to. We definitely need to round those. Yeah. I wasn't sure if it made sense to. That invocable, I'm just leaving wide open, right? It returns a decimal. It looks like this. I figured maybe sometimes we need a random number that's super accurate, and sometimes you might need a number that's just an integer. So I'm having the invocable return the worst case scenario, but we do need to actually, what did I do the other day? I just assigned. I thought this was smart. Maybe I'll show you. I did this somewhere else. We had 2 variables, monster, I'll say monster HP, and I'll make it a number, but I'll set the decimal to 0, and then if I do that and then get HP. I'm going to manually assign the variable to monster HP. It will round it for me based on, I can't remember what rounding rules. I think it's middle, closest from the closest whole number from the middle. So if it's 0.5, it goes up. If it's 0.49, it goes down. So it's an extra step. I got to make a variable, but I liked this because I didn't have to make a formula in doing so. So it's a minor extra step, not a huge inconvenience. And it seems to work. I might regret relying on it, but so far so good. Oh wait, we don't need a default. So get HP, get XP. We'll set that to monster X. Oh, sorry, I'm going to fix the name of that. Monsters, no. Monster, yes. Here we go. And then we'll use that here instead. Is this the HP or the XP? There we go. Now, did it actually create those or did that run in rollback mode? It created them. All right, let's delete these. I guess I could just add more monsters to it, but nah. Okay, do it again. Maybe. New game quest step monsters debug. Do I still have that? Yep. Okay, how do we do? How's that look? Did I did I actually do what I did I do what I said I was going to do? What's this upset about here? It didn't like what we did here. I swear this worked for me in another contains unsaved changes. I'm not sure why this is doing a save as on me right now. Did I activate this on accident? Maybe I did. I must have. Okay. Let's debug again. There we go. See, we got output 5, output 2, and then we should down here. Nope. What am I doing? What is going on? Nothing when we add to the collection. That's interesting. All right, I'm just going to refresh this whole thing and see why it's upset with me. Famous last words. That should work. No, we're still getting the... Let's see. Are those the numbers that come back?
I found this on the web.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Siri. Get HP. Monster HP. That's really interesting. So I guess maybe it's carrying through. So I lied. Where don't we do this? We do this in another. We do this in another step somewhere. This is new game quest. I think it's a new game. New game quest, get first step. thought we were using a random. Yeah, we use a random to determine the number of steps. But we have to call that from somewhere. I was expecting it to be... Where are you? Oh, they're here. Duh. Now, it might not matter because if I go look at the actual records here, maybe it is doing the rounding. How many did we make? Let's see. This was the last one that we did. Does it? You know what? I'm just gonna. Is that the latest one? Yeah. So if I go back to my flow, whatever we inserted, is that right? I don't know if I'm looking at the right one. Hit points 5, experience points 2. Oh, these are completely different. We ran through that twice, though, so let's see here. 17 and 8. All right, let's just delete these. And then... Oh. Was this the latest one? 9 and 2? I don't know. Just clear them out and we'll do it again. Super slow. Okay. Debug again. So we should have a 12 and an 8, and then a 9 and a 1. I think if that all plays out right. 12, 8, yay. 9, 1. Okay, so it does, well, I don't know if it's working. I mean, I guess that would be an interesting, like maybe I'm just overthinking this, right? Maybe I don't even need to convert those. Maybe it's just gonna round them for me when it saves, because those fields are whole numbers anyway. So probably overthinking it. Let's go back and say, where'd you go? This value is, oh, right, because we're, now that we're manually assigning, I'm going to get rid of these. Because it probably doesn't matter, right? I mean, thought I was being cute. Probably don't need to do it in the first place. Get HP. Get XP. Bam. Bam, bam. Bam, bam, bam-bitty bam. Okay. Debug again. What did we get? 19 and 7. 8 and 2. 19 and 7. Yep. 8 and 2. Okay. Forget everything I just said about... Now, I guess you could do that if you needed to, round it. I think round it to a variable. Because if I was putting these into a field that had decimal points, I wonder what I would end up with. It's probably a good experiment. How does a flow variable that's populated from an invocable maintain data or decimal points? Because it looks like, at least in the flow, it's got the full decimal points all the way down through there, even after we reassigned the variable. Might be a fun experiment to do sometime. Okay, so I guess what's important here is we're making monsters. So I'm going to activate that, and I'm going to go to my new game quest step, and we're going to refresh this because it doesn't know about the new flow yet. And from our step, we're going to call the subflow monsters new game quest step monsters. I guess create, right? Yeah, we just call it new. Just give it the same name. Oop. And that's going to be our get latest, get create. Where are you? Game quest step ID. And I'm going to pass this in, but again, not really, doesn't really matter. Okay, save as, new version. And let's activate. I think I've got a little script in here that does some cleanup. I don't know if I actually... Oh, we were supposed to check for chicken sounds last week. Here it is. This gets rid of... Some of these are master detail, but I'm just going to do the whole shebang. This should get rid of every step along the way. You have the monster, the step, the quest, the game character, yep, and the game itself. Okay, let's run this. That will wipe out everything that we just did. And here we go. So now we should have no more game. I guess I could have just created a new game, but here we go. Let's make a new, so let's start a new game. We'll go start to finish with this. The new game name is G Game 6. Let's pick our characters, Thor and Merlin. And we're done adding characters. All done. How'd we do? We got characters, first quest, 12 steps. Oh, but no game quest steps. Why? Are we not actually inserting the game step quests? Or the game quest steps? Could be. Yes, we're not calling that. So that would probably have something to do with it. Let's see, new game quest step. Hold on. Where's our... how are we inserting that? It's got to be that. Yep. Okay. So we got to call that and save view and activate. Okay. And let's run that flow again. I'm going to close a couple of these up because I think we're good. New game. Just one character this time, just Merlin. Oh. Game. G7. Nope. G7, not G ampersand. Okay, how do we do? Got Merlin, Dark Cave of Darkness, first step, 2 monsters. I don't have the monsters listed, but that's okay. And then do our monsters have, yep, hit points, experience points. Hit points, experience points. All right. Yahoo. We got kind of everything we need, or at least everything we need to get started with a turn, I guess that would be. So what could we do from here? We create a new game. So then I think, so we have this new game. We have all this stuff. Our flow for new game doesn't go anywhere right now. It probably should drop us into something, you know. We're taking the first step. So maybe we can have a screen that says, okay, your game is ready. Let's roll. And then next button. So something that we're going to do over and over and over again is take turns relative to a what am I trying to say? To a step. So I think we need a turn object so we can kind of act upon it. We could just use the step or the game quest step, but that'd be a lot of moving parts. Let's see. It would be good to, well, let's see. We got these two monsters to fight. Yeah. We need turns because we want to lay out, you come into the step and then boom, we're going to create all the turn records that's going to determine who's fighting who. Again, within the turn, you have to make a decision about what to do. Right now, we're just going to fight, and that will be that. But in the future, maybe you want to fight or run or do magic or drink a potion or something like that. But so the turn is not, it's not preordained right now to, it's going to have a character. Some turns might have a monster. They probably will have a monster. So we want to take turns, right? We want everybody to have equal have equal turns. So we're going to, which then I guess we talked about rounds earlier, right? Do we need rounds or do we just keep kind of stacking turns, turn after turn after turn, and every turn is what's really, after that turn is taken, some logic happens that says, now this is going to happen. That could be interesting, because I could attack, Merlin could get 3 attacks right in a row. We might have to account for that and make sure that the goblin that he's fighting actually gets a turn too. But we could leave it up to the will of the random to start, and it's not until that turn is over. And I guess, turn means the main character, right, did something. Probably going to need some different types for these turns that say, because we're going to have a character lookup, we're going to have a monster lookup, we might have some other lookups there too, but the actor, if you will, is the actor the character or is the actor the monster? We want to know who I think they hit in that move. Because then we got hit points to reduce and all that kind of stuff. Let's take a quick break. I'm just going to go grab something to drink because this, and 2 minutes. We'll be back in two quick minutes. Stay tuned. And we're back. I may or may not be taking medicine. I am taking medicine. There we go. I also bought some Halloween medicine. Reese's. Can you say that? Reese's Cups. Oh, yeah. Reese's Pieces. Also my favorite movie theater treat. Okay, where did all the screens go? There they are. And back on this. Okay, so we need to drop our health potion. Exactly, yes. Reese Pieces. Didn't E.T. eat these? I forget. Pardon me while I gnaw this open with my teeth on stream. No big deal. You guys are going to hear me chomping on these. Okay. We need to drop our players somewhere. We need a screen that is like, play turn. Let's start there. Maybe it'll turn into play round. I don't know. This is a flow. It's going to be a screen. What do we need to show somebody when they're... Well, I guess first things first, we need to... we need a turn, right? So, what do we need? When do we need to make a turn? I think we need to make a turn when, I think that's the last step of a new game. We need to make a new turn, so we know who's up. So when we send somebody to the take turn screen, we've got one there waiting for them. Does that make sense? You don't want to just show up to the screen. You could show up to the flow, and then we could make the turn on the fly there, I guess. I guess we could do that. Play round include play turns from each character and monster. That's what I'm wondering. I'm debating the round. If this was Final Fantasy, definitely, right? Because every monster gets to go and every character gets to go. But I was wondering, what if it was just stacking a turn each time? So you finish the turn, and then the gods of random say, oh, well, the monster doesn't actually get to fight. Merlin is so cool, he gets to go again. But then I guess we could handle that inside the round. So maybe now I'm talking myself out of this. And if we were just going to go old school, we probably need... If we were going like Final Fantasy style, yes, everyone would take a turn. What I was thinking is in Final Fantasy 3, where it's the bar, right? Like the cooldown bar. And then when so it's possible if you had a really fast cooldown, you might get to attack twice before the monster gets to attack once. But I think we keep it simple. We just go with which would mean we have rounds. And when we have a round, we stack up the turns that we know are going to happen anyway. And then we can play through those sequentially. So maybe we do need a round. Let's go with a round. All right, let's go back to our... let's go back over here and look at our model. So we are somewhere around... We did Game Quest Step. We did Game Quest Step Monster. Those are on the step. And so that's all good. So now we need somewhere on the game hanging off the step. Up here somewhere. Trying to make some room. There's some things we're not dealing with right now. So this would be Game Quest Step. I really just want to call it a round without all this other stuff, but I'm going to keep the naming convention. Okay, so we have a round, and then within the round, we're going to have turns. Game quest, step, round, turn. And we're going to have, if we want to be equitable here, we're going to have a turn for everything that's alive. So we need to know if I guess we need to know I don't know if we really need a sequence on the round, but we do need, we need a couple of lookups here. So this is going to look up to the step. Can't move that to look nicer. I don't know what's going on there. You get the idea. And then we need our round, or our turns within the round. So these are going to look up to that. This is bad. Let's just get ourselves a new arrow. Doot in doot. Okay. Our turns might point at a game character. That's bugging me. I'm going to fix that arrow too. Hold on. Step round, and that's nicer. Look at that. So much better. Okay, so the turn might point at a game character. It might point at a monster. That's also, there's something, I think you got to just start with like the simplest arrow possible in this app, and then you can make it more complicated. Okay, so I can make the screen now. Ta-da. So my round is going to point at my step. My turn is going to point at my round. I'm going to create turns for every character, and I'm going to create turns for every monster. Or I'm sorry, game quest step monster. And then I probably need to randomize those. Back when we were playing Uno, random used to just be a sequence field, and we would just fill it with one of our random numbers, save those, and then query them back out and order by the sequence. So, we didn't have to really, we didn't have to save the records in a particular, sequence. We just needed to throw a random number on each of them. So we need that to, and I think it's fair to say, well, we're playing a turn, so we'll keep this UI to the turn, but I think we're going to need to set up, this thing would also need to kind of set up the round. I think can we make that? Should we make that? We probably should make that its own subflow to generate a round. And the round is, well, in my mind, the round is simple right now. It's just a container for the turns. There might be some aspects of a round that we need to track as well. But for now, we're just it's gonna be a pretty empty object. But let's go ahead and create that. Let's see, we got game quest step monster. Let's make games quest step round. Rounds. Game quest step round. import on it. We don't need... Oh, we don't need any of that. Let's see. Can I master detail to the step? I don't know if it's already. It might be a detail somewhere else. Game. No, game quest step. Okay. Okay. Right, we do need a new permission set for that object. So we'll do that in a second. All right, let's duplicate this. Permission sets. And new objects. Oh, and this is, we're going to make an admin access to that object. Oops. And the object we are assigning is the one we just made. And I guess I don't need to check those, but okay. And let's put that in our group. Just our admin for now. Okay. So, and then let's see. We added one side of this game quest step, and well, that's it for now. We just need it to look up to the game or the step, right? Yep. And that's just a container for our next object. Game quest step round turn. At least it's consistent. Getting a little long. Hope we don't run out of characters for these. Game quest step round turn. Did I? Yep. Okay. And we'll go back. We'll make a new permission set. My new experimenting with this new pattern of managing permission sets. My theory is make the sets super lean and make the groups, bring them together. And then like figure out some nomenclature of like, you know, you're a viewer of an object, you're a user of an object, you're a man or an admin of an object. But so far I've used it in a couple of other projects and it seems to make sense. It's a little extra work, but really compartmentalizes all the security, and you can kind of use your permission set groups as like personas. Game quest step, round turn admin. Yep. Okay, so now we've got that, and the rest needs to look up to the round, or, yep, the round. Can I masterify that? Yep. I gotta install that extension that cleans up all the underscores, especially with the names getting this long. Did I get those right? Round, round, turns. Okay. All right. And then, so this is the turn. So this is gonna, this might point to the game character. This might point to the monster. Because either the character is going to do something or the monster is going to do something. Oops, we actually have to save this before we do anything. So we'd create a round, we'd create our turns by looping through the characters and the monsters. We'd randomify that. Then we'd come to our page and then be able to say, you know, this whatever. If it's a character, if the character's populated, the character's doing something. And then if the so this is maybe we can have a little maybe have a little UI fun here pretty soon, right? Like make some LWCs that you know could show Merlin. He's got monsters on the screen. He's got a oh, thank you. Booster. Let's go get us some booster, please. Wait, I have it installed, it says. Oh, I have it installed in a different because I got this stupid multi-profile thing going on here. Let's kind of install it in this profile too. Saving the day, S-Force. Saving the day. We're going to be 500 times more efficient now on the stream. If I can put it there. Okay. So, what was I rambling on about? Screen, character, monsters, other stuff you can do. Fight, magic, run, item, probably, stuff like that. Yeah, that's what this is. It's going to practically build itself. Einstein GPT is going to build it for us. No, it's not. Until then, we have to do this ourselves. Okay, so our round turn, we might look up to the game character. Wait, shouldn't it be doing... Oh, do I have to configure it? It's this one, right? Yep. Helps to check the box. What else do I want turned on? Probably all these, right? Hey, I know that guy. There we go. Okay. Game character. And this, what object are we working on? The turn. Okay. And then if it's a character's turn, that field would be populated. If it's a monster's turn, this will be populated. Excuse me. we're still on the turn, right? Okay, so we have those fields populated, so we would kind of know, well, we could just use that to say, all right, this is the actor, but I think if we're fighting, I'm going to put the opponent in the other field, right? Which would be, if we got to some super abstract level, maybe monsters and characters should be the same thing, but for now, we're not going to do that. I have a hunch that we would want like some kind of game quest step round turn actor object that abstracts away some of this stuff so you could have like, the actor and the opponent. But I'm not going to do that for right now. Let's make a... I'm just going to make a pick list. Let's call this actor. We'll say character, monster. Put that here. So then we can kind of like look and say like, all right, what's going on? And then we probably need like what, an action? Pick list. And what would you have? Fight, magic, item, run. I think those are like the four classics, right? Maybe we'll come up with some more, but that's what's going to happen there. I think most of our monster turns are going to just fight or magic, maybe if we get sophisticated. Okay, and so once that turn, let's say I make a character turn, I'm going to fight the ghost. I click on the ghost, or click fight, click on the ghost, or maybe I just click on the ghost, however that works. I immediately start to think about, well, what happens when you do magic and you attack multiple characters? maybe the other side of the equation doesn't really matter so much as we just be able to indicate who our actor is, because I'm not going to have like, I don't think we're going to need an object that, unless we really wanted to go crazy, that is like a game quest step round turn monster hit or something like that. Now, like something's going to say, I'm attacking this, Merlin's attacking this monster and does 3 damage, right? And then we decrement the damage on the monster, and that turn is over, and then the next turn kicks up. So it might not, I think it's going to be more of like a either or of populating the character or the monster. Question is, how would you conditionally add options for certain classes? Yes. I was thinking about this with the characters, and I did I have it out here? Do we have classes out here? No. But I was wondering if there might be like a class out here somewhere. because you're right. That could dictate in the long run, like, well, what are those actions that you can do, right? Because maybe you. I guess you could say that. All right, if you're I don't know, if you're a necromancer, summon could be your magic, or summon could be, a completely different thing. Good point. Don't know yet. I'm sticking with the Merlin use case for now, but I'm sure we're gonna have to expand, some of that. So, okay, let's see. Where were we? We made some objects. So again, I don't think we're going to and there's probably more here, right? Like we can say with fight's easy. We don't have this in place yet either. Like we don't have the whole, like, what is the character, what are they wearing essentially? Like what do they have equipped? So we're not going to know how strong their sword is, or, whatever that may be. But for now we can, again, going to keep it stupid simple and just say bonk. actor fights monster and, does damage. And that's that. Okay. So we would have that. We can do that kind of like in memory, basically, like the fighting and the damage and such. I think we can take some of this over to our flow builder now. So we have a screen. We should, I think our rounds and our turns probably need statuses too, right? And a pattern is emerging for the statuses that have been created here. Everything's starting to look like this: pending success failure. So maybe I do the thing and make the global, or the pick list value set. Let's call it default statuses, I guess. Let's see what we seem to be using everywhere. Okay. And I wonder if I can just go back and convert a couple of these. Can you do that? If I promote, I don't want to make one. I want to use one that I've already got. Can you do that? Replace? Nope. Maybe you can't do that. No? Nope. The answer is nope. Darn it. Well, that might be interesting to have to unravel. I'd like them all to point at the same thing, but for now, we'll just grin and bear it. That is, where were we? Status on the round. At least I can use it on 2 objects. Wait, that was the round. And let's do it on the turn. delete the one you just made and promote field. Oh, delete the global value set and then promote that. Except I have it on like three other fields across different objects too. Or maybe I'm misinterpreting that, but I feel like I'm stuck no matter what. Let's see. Does that work? Hi. Yeah, that works. Okay. Yay, Greenfield. Exactly. Like, at least we don't have to. Worst case, I'm going to have to unravel some stuff in some flows that are referencing the fields, but. I wonder if there's a metadata way to do it. Let's take a look. Let me get all of the changes that we've made. I wonder if it shows up in metadata. And if we can make a mess of things in here. Let's see. Object. I just did this one, right? And status is, that's the value set. Let's give it a shot. Let's find another one. I think Game Quest. Let's try it. What could possibly go wrong? Value set, restricted, true, default, statuses. Value set. Here we go. Does it work? Fingers crossed. Drum roll. Oh. Cannot change which global value set this pick list uses. Womp, 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 womp. Are we in the latest? Nope, that's not what I'm looking for. Latest version? Yeah. Man! I think can we do that? I was going to say make a new field, status 2, API name status 2, and then change status 2 to status. Push that up, see if the world complains about it, but I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to retrieve what I... oh, nothing retrieved, right, because nothing has changed here. Let's go back. There, just kidding. I guess I don't really need to push that, but... kind of blurry. Oh, camera. Sitting down because I'm, tired. Hey, there we go. Hello. Okay, that's in sync, but at least it's saved. Okay, well, so it goes. Let's see. All right, we have some statuses. We have status on our turn. Global pick list. We have status on our round. Right? Global pick list. And then we're here. So do or play turn, right? We need to play a turn on our on our game quest, right? Is that how it's laid out? Game quest step round. So we need to pass in the game quest step. And do we get that somewhere? I mean, I could pass in anything here, right? Well, from a responsibility, separation of duties perspective, we probably don't want the screen flow to drive the round and the round creation or the turn creation. I suppose it could do the round, right? That's very minimal. We're just creating a new round record. I could seed that to putting it in the screen flow, but I think creating the turns is probably more involved. So I would pass that off to a subflow. So I guess we would want to look and find the. We're going to pass in this step. I think that makes. I mean, we could pass in anything. We could do this from the game, from the quest, from the step. We just have to decide like what's going to go get what we need, right? And how can we do that? Because we would want to query. That might come down to it too. If I hit if I'm at my game, and I hit, play, it's gonna need to go find what's the active. Basically, what's the active. Well, we could maybe make this a little easier. If we had a redundant lookup on the turn, really, that points back at the game, then I can pass in the game and and then it'll know what turn it's on. So that might be something to consider, but that all depends on should it create a round, should it create turns in the round, because it needs to evaluate if it has a does it have a pending quest, does that quest have a pending step, does that step have a pending round, does that round have a pending turn? I think that's everything. Yeah. So I'm going to pass in the game ID, I think. Oh, wait, are we still working? Yeah, that's okay. So our game's coming in, and then I almost want to have a get turn. Have a get turn step here, which calls a subflow, which does all that crazy stuff that I just mentioned. And if it returns null, we're done, right? There's nothing, this game is over. and this was the output or outcome or something like that. If it does return something, it's going to return the turn, and it can also be responsible for, do we need a turn? Do we need a round? All that. Well, I guess really, do we need a round? Because we should always have the turns that we're looking for. So first things first, I got to eat some of these Reese's Pieces. Very important. Okay. So we need another flow. I'm not even going to save this one, so I didn't do anything with it yet. But I need to be able to pass in, let's see, new flow. This is going to be auto launched. Let's send it the game ID. Yeah. This is text input. Game ID comes in, right? And let's get that. We have the ID. We need to check if the game's over. So first step is, let's get the game. And the ID equals the game ID. Okay. This is going to be YCDRPG. Get current turn. Okay, so we get the game. We have to make a decision. Is it game over? Do we have a status? We don't have a status on the game. Okay, let's use our status again. Pick list. Game admin. And save. All right, so we got a status there, and what's this? That's not what we need. I can't do this because it's not going to know about the field, so we'll refresh. Decision, game over. Yes. The game is over if the game's status does not equal pending. All right. If the game's not over, then we need to find the ultimately we need to find the step. I'm sorry. Ultimately, we need to find the round that's pending that relates to. So again, this it's super redundant, but I almost feel like every object in this hierarchy should point back to the game, just with a lookup, so that we can. So we can get at it faster, right? This to be able to know that, like, oh, hey, from the game, this is a turn. and just cuts through the whole hierarchy. Otherwise, here I'm going to have to go get the game, get the quest, get the round. I'm sorry, get the step, get the round, get the turn. I don't like any of that. So I'm gonna take this step, and so the game quest knows about its game. Obviously, game quest step. I have so many objects I can't find it. Game quest step is going to let's make a lookup here to the game. And we'll put that on the step admin. Let's not actually wait. Yeah, we can put on that layout, and sure, we'll put it on all the layouts so we can see what we need to see. So there's a step. Put it on the round. If anything, this will give us like a full view of the of how the, all the moving parts of the game. So for what that's worth. And let's do it on the turn. This is the one I think I care about the most. And turn admin, right? Yep. Okay. All roads lead to the game, except none of them are being populated yet. So, new game quest, new game. That's not a thing that we've already done. Let's go back to our flows. Game quest step. I think that's the only one we're missing. Maybe we want it on the monster also. I don't think we need it there. I think we're, for the sake of targeting our step. This I probably didn't really even need it on the. Well, I have it on the quest already. I'm sorry, targeting our round, our turn. So I don't have it populated on the step yet. I don't think. And we got a weird sequence thing going on there, I just noticed. Which might not matter. Well, I guess it would be good if we... the sequence might not really matter because of the... You're going to have the ID sequential, the created date. You guys probably hear me chew these candies. The game equals the get. Get game quest. Not game. Let's do that. Okay, that works. And again, we haven't built a round yet. So if I go back to get current turn, this gets a little bit. This gets a little bit easier because if I don't have a turn yet, not actually getting game, I'm going to get, get turn. Wait a minute. Is this my, I forget, is this my auto launched? Yep. First try to get right, and then just the first record. Okay, so let's say current turn found, question mark. This is turn is not null, right? The current turn is also going to have a status of pending. So if we have that, we can just return it, right? I think so. Yeah, let's just return the, current turn. We just need to set that value, right? Too much on the screen. Current turn equals equals get current turn. Okay. If we don't find it, oh, whoops, we don't have any steps in between there. If we don't find it, then we need to get the current round. Let's move upstream. So what might end up happening here, now that I'm like thinking it through more, is maybe our logic might just be going backwards now, right? Well, this is still easier to query out of though. Like I can say, all right, give me the round where the game equals game ID, and the status again does not equal, or I'm sorry, status equals pending. Right, so now we're checking at the round level. And if we don't have that, so let's say, this is really more like, I'm going to say get pending turn, because that's really what we're doing. And pending turn found. 1. The pending term is the current term. Or current turn. This is get pending round. And pending round found. That rhymes. All right, so we can repoint this down there. This is going to get a little pyramids of flow. Pyramids of flow. Who's that? What was that? Okay. The world is safe, according to my texts. All right. Did we get a turn? If we got a turn, pew, send it back. If we didn't get a turn, do we have a round? If the answer is we have a round and we don't have a turn, let's... that means we're at the end of the round. I think, right? I think, does that make sense? If you have a pending round and you don't... you have a pending round and you have no turn. It means the round is over. Right? I think that's what that would mean. So I think we have to end... It would be... Is that ever possible? Well, if this is... Let's see. If this is responsible for... This flow is going to do a lot. And... I have a feeling it's going to overstep its bounds a little bit, but let's think. We're asking it to get the current turn. It's going to try to get the current turn. Pending turn, right? If it finds it, it sends it back. If it can't find a pending turn, we probably should go get the pending round and indicate something about it. We don't know. Well... So maybe what's better here is not the pending turn, it's to get the latest turn. Get the latest turn and determine what happened with it. And this is a little slippery too, because I think we would want to... There's going to be logic somewhere else that says, you know, this game is over. Right? That's got to exist somewhere else. We can't put all that responsibility on, like, I don't want to turn this into a complete engine, you know, that we look to do everything. I really just want it to get a turn. And if it can't, then You know, that's that. I almost want to... It's really about like, where's the responsibility for all of this? I think we have to do these tests because we have to say, oh, if you don't have a round that's pending, we probably have to create one. If the game's not over, if the step's not over. That's the tricky part, is like all the statusing, and what to do when, right? But then again, we have a new game step, right? A new game quest step. New game quest step monsters. I think we could keep with this and just say new game quest step round, new game quest step turns, and that is where our responsibilities could lie for, should I do this, should I do that? Because then it's like, it's going to cascade. If I have to say, hey, new game quest step, should then create a round, right? As soon as it's initiated. And then the round's going to create the turns. So, but I could go say, make me a new round, do a check on the step, make me a new turn. Well, probably won't. We won't make new turns without making a round. Make me a new step, depending on the outcome of the quest. That's probably a little cleaner than what we're about to try and do. So I'm going to trash what we just did here. Let's leave that. A little more work, but definitely a lot more compartmentalized. And again, we're not going to have all the logic. I don't think we have all the logic right now to say, well, actually, I think we do. I think we do have it in here. Hey, I want to make a game. Get the latest quest. In this row, we aren't checking for we aren't checking for whatchamacallit. We aren't checking for whether it's done or not. I'm going to just put a to do on. Can you put descriptions on? You can't. Never mind. I'm going to do a silly thing. Then I'm just going to make a assignment called to do. Let's see. We need to. What do we need to do? We need to check if the quest is over. Oh, yeah. These are not going to hang out forever. So, so we want to check if the quest is over. Has latest quest. Those are going to get the first quest. We're going to get the next quest. Yeah, here is where we need to check for that. But for right now, we're okay there. And then we go create the step. Get the quest, get the latest step, create new game quest step. We check to see if we found the latest step, or we don't find the latest step. Or the sequence is less than the total steps. And the latest step is success, right? So the quest logic is going to be something very similar to that. So we'll create our monsters, and then after creating a new step, we're going to create a round. So new game quest step round is what we need to do here. New flow. We'll pass in the step. Yep. Okay. So we're going to create a round. We're going to basically follow the same logic. I think we want to get the latest round, right? Order. We really could just do ID descending. I don't know. We have a lot of sequence stuff floating around. We may end up with a sequence on this also, but for right now, just the first record is fine. And then the decision to create a new round. We do this when, if the latest round is, this is the same logic as here. If it's not null, right? Actually, we're not doing... Oh, wait, if it is null, right? If we don't have a round, we got to make one. Or if the... if the steps... So we do need to load the step first. So I'm going to get rid of this for a second. I'm going to keep with the IDs because I just don't know where we're going to come in from. And I think the least amount of data that I can pass in, even though it means a query here, it wouldn't mean a query somewhere else. And it just feels like cleaner than having to get a record and then pass it somewhere that could just get it anyway. So let's get the turn, or get game quest step. Okay, and then just because I have that now, I want to use it. Do get game quest step. Okay. Should we create a new round? if we don't have one, and the get game step quest status is still pending, right? I can't, there's logic up above this that says whether or not a new step should be created. So I'm going to rely on that to determine if we're even getting down to creating the new round. So I'm not going to put a ton of logic into this. We might need to come back and look at that differently, but I think for right now, I don't have to put a ton of logic into round to determine if the step is still active. So if we don't have a round and the step is still pending, right, then we should create one. I think that's right, because it's just going to keep going until the step is done, right? And the step is only going to be done based on the outcome of a turn, where we need to kind of like check. So some of this create new round, I don't know if it's this directly, but we may have another subflow that says, is this round or is this step over? And check for some conditions, right? Monsters are all dead. And that might actually be a status of the on the monster, the game step monster that we object that we have. Well, really, if they're, we could, how about a is dead? We could have a is dead pick list, or just check to see if the hit points are less than or equal to 0, right? At the end of each round, we would want to check, actually, what if we just went up to Game Quest step? This might be clever. If we went up to Game Quest step, I know we're kind of all over the place here, but I feel like we're getting into the midst of all of it. What if I made a roll up, total monster hit points, right? And that would sum our monster's hit points, all records included. And let's see, we're looking at Game Quest step. So then I could just look at that and say, are there any more hit points we need to deal with, in this round? Or I'm sorry, in this step. So that could come in handy. Not for this, not for our round thing per se, but if the step is still pending and let's see. Because we're querying out for a pending round, right? Actually, we're not. If the step is, if we didn't get a round, I think we should just query for that, right? Get latest round. Right? Like, hey, get me a round that's pending, and if it's success or failure, then I know I need to make one. So I can come in here. If that's null and the step is still pending, then we have to make one. Right? So let's create new game quest step round. Game quest step round. And I think we're going to pass that back, maybe. I'm okay passing objects back out because the work has been done already. So let's assign the game step quest equals get game step quest ID. We're going to set the game from here. Get game quest step game. Is that? I think that's it. Yeah, not much else. Status should default to pending, so should be good there. Done. Create new game quest step round. Then we want to make turns. So we can call that next. I think we can activate this. I feel kind of good about it. Game quest step monsters. Let's refresh this. New game step. Oh, I did that backwards. Darn it. New game quest. I gotta fix that step. I can't believe I did that. Gross. All right, pass in our new game step quest. Nope, not monsters. Step ID. That's what we're looking for. There's a new version. The round is going to do the thing. I'm going to get the round. I can get the round back. And then turns, right? This, we still might need this after all. Yeah. Game quest step round turns. And this will be the game. This will be the round ID. Okay, we have that now. Yep. We'll call that from the round. That needs... It could take the monsters in, but if it's going to be self-contained, I don't think it should. We might have to requery for those. Will that be a transaction issue, though? Because I'll have them, they're being created here. Then we're creating the round. And then within the round, we're creating the turns. I think I just need to get them again rather than try to pass them in, because we're going to call this step round thing arbitrarily at some point, and it is going to need to go get its monsters anyway. So yeah, there's round, and nope, not that one. Good with quest. Haven't done anything with turn yet. Where is my new? Here it is. Step round turn. So let's get the round. Yep. Okay, and so ID equals this. Just 1. Okay. We pass in the round. We need to get the monsters for the step. Where the, let's see, the game step, or the game quest step equals the rounds step. We want all the records. We also want all the characters, right? Yep, we do need that. We also want where the hit points are greater than 0. Nobody wants to play with a dead monster. Unless you're weird. Okay, there's the game monsters. Let's get the game characters. And this is the game equals the round. Well, the round knows about the game, right? Yes, that's a little easier to get. And then again. Oh, wait. Hold on. So now here's the magic question, right? Or is this a magic question? Maybe I already answered this. Our character... Yeah, our character is just a character by name. So you can die, come back to life. You could run in multiple games at the same time. But we don't have hit points, I think, on our game character yet. So we probably need that. I do need to go around and figure out, like, I think we called it hit points on the... Yep, hit points. So we'll try to be consistent with that. Number... Okay. And we do need to come over here and fix this. But for the moment, we have our we have our characters from our game, and go ahead and refresh that. Get our game characters, and hit points are greater than 0. I feel like I'm having a little seizure every time that. I don't know what it is, if it's just the perfect size of, like, what this, I don't know if you can see it, like, how it does there. It must just be my screen is the perfect size to make it hard to watch. Okay, so we got our round. We're in the round. We're creating turns for the round. To make turns, I need to know all the monsters that can fight. I need to know all the characters that can do something. For now, they're all going to fight. And then I need to loop through I just need to loop through each of those lists, basically. Loop through the list of monsters, make turns for each of them. Loop through the list of game characters, make turns for each of them. A couple of fields need to be different. We're going to, do we have a sequence on the turns? We should, because we're going to drop a random number into those. So we know we don't. Let's add a sequence field. Number. I'm going to make this, we'll make this a decimal. I don't think we need that much precision, but honestly, we could probably just go like 16.2 for this. So we're going to get, when we get back our, I don't want to use whole numbers because we might end up with a bunch of 1s and 2s or whatever. I'm just going to have it return like a pseudo random between 0 and 1, whatever decimal places we've got. If we've got 2 that are 3, 3, well, we're going to sort them that way. And, that's just, just the way it goes. And there's a status on there too. So we'll check for that. Okay. This is the step around turn. Boom, boom. All right. So that will tell us how the turns break down. And now we go back over here. I don't know if I saved that. So now we need just new turns. New game, quest, step, round, turns. And then we're going to loop each of those lists. I could transform these, but yeah, I would have to merge them anyway. So that wouldn't, if I just had to make turns for the monsters, then I wouldn't. I could probably transform from the monsters, at least to initialize them into the turns, but I digress. Okay, let's do, excuse me. I could do a transform and then do I couldn't do a loop because I'd have to, well, can you, let me try an assignment here. If I take, can you add a collection to a collection? That would be cool. Let's see if we can do that. So let's transform into, let's init turns for monsters, right? My source is my monsters. There's my monsters. My target is a list of turns. Okay. And then I'm going to take my monster, this ID, and pass it to, oops, pass that to here. Come on. Oh, okay. Pass that in there. Huh, I wonder, can I set the status this way? Might be a little hinky, but if I... Not the status, the action. I'm sorry, not the action, the the game I need to set. The round I need to set. I just wonder if all right, if I were to do this, take the ID. No, don't do that. That's bad. You go away. Take the ID, send it to the game, but transform this. Could I literally just pass it the game? Yes. Okay. Can you do a transform without... The only thing is, it didn't like that. It thinks it's mapped, which is interesting. I can't do anything. It doesn't like this. Whew. Okay. What did I break? Point that to that, right? Game is somehow mapped now. I can't do anything with it. I've broken the transform function. So maybe this isn't a great idea. I would love to be able to, like, I don't want to map per se. I just want to push like a constant into these, and I don't think we can do that. I was hoping I could kind of like fake it with like, oh well, I'll just map this field a couple of times and pass it something. I don't know why I'm getting... All right, we're just gonna nope out of the transform. Not gonna do what we wanted to do. We're gonna loop our monsters. Where are you? Loop. Okay, and then for each of these, we're gonna need an iterator for the okay, we're gonna need to iterate that, and then let's init new game quest step round turn. Iterator.game equals round game. Iterator round equals round.id. Iterator.monster equals the current monster ID. Anything else? We got the game. I don't know if we're going to need the... well, yeah, we could set the actor field to monster here. We don't know the action yet. I'll have to set a sequence. So let's do the actor. Okay. Save that. I want to do my random. I think we can just do that between 0 and 1, which is what it would give us. Oh, something in the eyeball. Is what the random would give us anyway. So we'll do that, and then we'll also set that field. The iterator sequence equals get random sequence. Okay. What did we miss here? What are you upset about? What has you sad? Okay. Refresh. What has you sad, Flo? Oh yeah, see, you're fine. Walk it off. And then let's add it to the collection. Do we not? Oh, I didn't name it with collections. My bad. So that's our iterator, right? Okay. I think we can copy this whole floop, or at least these things inside. So maybe we build the loop. Well, is it going to matter? I don't know if it's going to matter. Let's copy the whole thing. Put it here. And oh. Did I not set this proper? Here we go. Loop, game, char actors. Char actors. Do. I can still get a random sequence again. Get random sequence 2. Let's copy this. Init turn 2. This is the current game character. Oh wait, what do we? That's the game. This is the round. We're good there. This is actually the game character. No. This is the iterator character. There we go. Equals the current character's ID. This is our character. And that's our, we got to get that from random 2. Okay. And then we can add that to the collection. and the iterator. There we go. Save. And then insert our turns. There's no conditions up here, right? Yep. Huzzah! Okay, where's that going to get called from? Oh, are we setting the game on these? I think we are. Yep. Okay. Well, I just activated it. So now we go to our round. And then from here we do our turns. There we go. Okay, so we're going to start a game, quest, step, round. Wait, game, characters, step. No, game, characters, quest, step, monsters, round, turns. All in a sequence. So if I need to make a new round, I can just call that flow. If I need to make a new step, call that flow. New quest, call that flow. Just got to pass in what we need. We didn't get to our battle engine. We made it as far as the turns. S-Force B with you was right in the chat to say you probably want rounds. Yeah, we probably want rounds. Probably other way, might be other ways to do it. Maybe there's different, kind of different scenarios, right? That maybe we want to run games by, and that could be one of them. Go with rounds, go with turns. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, we made it 6 o'clock. Didn't quite get to didn't quite get all the way through, but I still think we made some pretty good progress. And I want to grab everything that we did today so it doesn't get lost. And then I want to push this all into post. This is episode 3, and let's commit and push all. We covered a lot of ground. Save all. Do I have anything to save? Would you like to publish this branch? Yes. So now we should have a episode 3 branch out here. And we do. And we'll pull them into the main at some point. Let's go check out that branch. There we go. All right. 6 o'clock. Show's over. Thanks for coming. I'm Tom. You can't do that on Salesforce. Or can you? See ya.